I think we are live. Shows nine people on. Of course, always let us know if you can see us on the screen as well as hear us okay. So once we get the okay that it's working, we'll go ahead and get started. And I do see we have some comments already, some comments that started before the live stream actually started. That's great.
Loud and clear.
Okay, so chicken
Chicken
legs,
leg.
yeah, says loud and clear. My son says thumbs up. Okay, great. So, Mayung Buta, kumusta?
Good morning or good evening, everyone.
All right, so glad we have some people on already. Jumped up to 19 viewers, very nice.
And make sure you hit that like button, guys.
She's getting good at it.
That's all we ask.
All we ask is hit the like button. So this live stream is dedicated to answering your questions regarding the possibility of building a house in the Philippines, which encompasses, finding land, buying land, and the fact that this is a foreign country to all of us expats, how to maneuver through all the red tape. So it is complicated. It's different. I could talk about the U.S. Building a home in the U.S. For me was easier than building a home here in the Philippines,
Definitely.
right?
Yes.
Definitely more difficult here.
We were more involved.
We were definitely more involved here, but just the fact that it's a foreign country to an expat, and there's a lot of rules and regulations, and the laws differ. So, if you're coming with your mindset of, I'm from the U.S., you have to kind of leave that back in your home country and really try to, maneuver and learn all the rules and regulations, the norms, the culture here in the Philippines. So I get so many emails, comments, messages, Facebook Messenger regarding specific questions. And I mean, when I say hundreds, guys, hundreds of questions. And it's difficult because some of the questions are really good and I answer them. And then I always say to myself, well, I'm answering that question to one person. And there could be 50 people, 100 people, 500 people who have that same question and they never got the answer because I just sent one email to one person. So that's why, Wilma and I talked about it and said, why don't we do a live stream and try to, really dial in on your questions regarding, buying land and how do you get your permits and electrical hookup and water hookup and architect and engineer and, just all the specific questions that you may be wondering about. And the reason why we're doing this also is it just seems like there's a lot of building in the Philippines.
Yes, there's a lot of new build that's going on around us now.
A lot of new builds and labor shortages. It's we're finding out that it's difficult. Like we just hired someone to come up and do some work around the house for landscaping. Not Linlin. Linlin's here today doing the gardening, but we hired somebody. They come to find out he just got a full-time job for another build, and it's another foreigner. So I don't know the number of builds in this area, but I know it's many, many builds going on here at the same time, and it's probably all over the Philippines, just because cost of living here is so much cheaper. So consider that as well. You may get over here, get into a region of the Philippines, and then have the perfect plan, and then can't find labor, believe it or not. So there's lots of challenges out there. So I want to go over my disclaimer. I got a few notes, but basically what I wanted to say was what worked for us may not work for you, and then something that we would say we would never do, you may do, and it may work perfectly. You got to realize that this is not a perfect science. This is all about risk mitigation. Are you going to through your proper planning and saying that you're the perfect leader and you can gather great people around you and have no issues? You can't do that. Can you minimize your risk? Yes.
Yes, definitely.
You
Yeah.
can minimize your risk. But are you going to eliminate all the issues? No, you're going to have issues. There's going to
No.
be ups and downs. There's going to be stress, especially for the foreigner, because we're thinking one way. And just to be honest, everyone else here is thinking a different
It's
way.
completely different, guys.
And maybe we can
The
get into
cultures
that.
are completely different. So
Yeah.
don't think that you can change the way things are over here. You can't. You just have to go with the flow
Yeah.
and
And it's
kind of
hard.
like adjust yourself
Yep.
to the culture here.
Very, very difficult. So I guess that would be the first thing is, check if you think you're going to come here and just rule the roost and say this is the way it is and I want it to be done this way. Perfect example is I wanted a leach field in my septic system. And everybody said, what's a leach field? They had no clue what it is. So how is someone going to build a leach field that doesn't even know what it is? So then now I had to explain, and we did. I explained it, and we have now a leach field. So that's just an example. So let's get through some of the early comments. So Chicken Leg says good morning. That he almost forgot about today's live stream. My son said that he's driving right now, but our two grandsons want to say hi. And then when he sees my picture, he points at the uh, phone and says, "Hey, there's Grandpa on TV." Hi guys. Update possible on the solar system? Yes, we'll talk about that. We have it on hold right now. We were very, very close to going under contract. In fact, we were getting ready to go to contract. And then at the last second, the price went up $1,000.
Yeah.
And we were communicating through Facebook Messenger, was pretty specific with the final price. And then when I got the final price, I sent another text message and said, okay, that's the final price. And that includes this, 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 and this. And then the answer was, yeah, it includes all that. And then when we went to, really dial in on the paperwork, the price went up 1,000 peso. So was that a community?
No, $1,000.
$1,000.
Yeah.
I said 1,000 pesos.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Guys.
Peso would be nothing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It went up 50,000
Yeah.
pesos, which is about $1,000. So is that an example of miscommunication? Maybe.
Misunderstanding.
Is it a misunderstanding? Maybe. And that's another example. Be very clear. Try not to do things verbally. Like I said, when I got this is the final price, I came back with another one. Call it a follow-up email. Oh, so that's the final price, and it includes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Question mark. Comes back. Yep, includes all 6 things. And they come to find out that it didn't. So you got to be really, really specific. If you're kind of carefree and just say, okay, final price sounds good. Well, they're going to get into the installing of the solar and say, well, where's my 50,000 pesos?
Yeah.
And then, if you say, well, that's not what we agreed on, I've heard many, many times. Now, I'm not talking about this vendor, but I heard many, many times that they just say, okay, we're just leaving. We're going to leave the work half done. Have a nice life. Goodbye. And then you have a half built solar system on your roof. Guys, don't think that doesn't happen. It happens here often. I have 2 examples of right now where we know that contractors walked away from builds at a 50% done or whatever the case. One was actually like 30% done
30.
and just walked away and said goodbye. Meanwhile, you paid them a lot of money. So then you have to go through the court systems and things like that. That's just stress that you don't want. Okay. So let me show the comment. So there you go, about the update on the solar system. Hello, how are you? Greetings from Canada. I think I mentioned on the last live stream, the percentage of our viewership from Canada is definitely going up. In
Yeah.
fact, it doubled. So a lot of people from Canada are starting to chime in. Ray, we know Ray, and I
Hi,
think we're going
Ray.
to talk after the live stream, right? So give me a call on Facebook Messenger. I know that you had a couple specific questions for me. So hello from Wisconsin. All right, we got the loud and clear. Very good. So I think we have all the hardware issues set up and fixed with our live streams.
Yeah.
So we're just going to continue to repeat. Have another thumbs up. Very good. Live from Australia, loud and clear. And Australia is the fourth largest. For sure, number one is U.S. It's like 54% of you is from the U.S. I guess it makes sense because I'm from the U.S. Then it comes Philippines, then Canada, then Australia. Okay, Kenny's on. You can see and hear you clearly. Excellent. Okay. Next up, Philip, Mayun Buntag, Wilma Gray, Kumasta.
Good morning.
Hi from Jeju Island, South Korea. Very nice. Thank you for joining. We got another beautiful necklace. Oh, okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you.
What about my shirt? What do you think? I wear a collared shirt. Very rarely do I wear a collared shirt in the Philippines. It's just too hot. Are the people friendly in seeking the land acquisition? The answer to that is yes. Everybody's very friendly. But my, quick thought on that, there's no friends in business. It's all business. So, example, would I buy a piece of property from a friend here? Probably not, because if there's an issue, number one, it's no longer going to be a friend. So I like keeping things very, very separate. And I always have those conversations up front. My architect, for example, I don't want to go to dinner with you. I don't want to, be your friend. Now, I can be your friend after the bill is over, but during the build, it's strictly business, 100%. So that's a really good question, and that's just my approach to things. I have enough friends; I don't need any more during a business transaction. So it's a really good question. Gary's on, longtime viewer. Good morning,
Hi,
evening
Gary.
from Medina, Minnesota. Leaving for the Philippines in 57 days, Cebu. Yeah, I know you're heading this way, Gary. Safe travel and get ready for the warm weather. Balut John's on. Watching from Bakersfield, California. Hi, John. Blue John says, I still have to build a house on my wife's lot in Valencia, close to Dumaguete. Yeah, there's a ton of foreigners in Valencia, a
Yes,
ton.
a whole bunch.
Yeah, it's a real popular spot. It's about 250-meter elevation. I hope we can get into the elevation thing during this live stream when you guys are looking for property, because we had a subscriber come up here and said something very, very interesting. Valencia is a nice area. There's a ton of foreigners. The prices now in Valencia are very high.
Very expensive
It's
now.
cheaper to build, say, in the Darwin area. We call Darwin is more of an up and coming area with all the resorts so close to the ocean, and all the scuba diving that's happening in that area down the mountain. Very nice area. How much does it cost for a 4-pen survey? Plus, do the survey company include the real property report? This is very important to know your boundaries. Yes. Oh, I didn't click on it. Sorry. Yeah, the survey was done by the owner of the subdivision here. So when he did, he broke up the land and got the subdivision approved. So let's talk about that. That's very important. He did a survey. I was told that a survey is about 10 to 15,000 pesos for 4 Mahones, and they do give you an official report. So 10 to 15,000 pesos. But we did not have to do that because it was just done.
Yeah.
Basically, right before we bought the property, they're all in place. In fact, they're all in place for all the lots here. So great question. Let's talk about subdivision. Very important that the subdivision, if you're going to buy property in a subdivision, make sure that the subdivision has been approved. Many people say, oh, the word they use is cut,
Yeah.
right? We can buy this. We have 10,000 square meters and you can buy whatever piece you want. And they say you can cut it.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds good. Can't build on it.
Yeah. Cut is still is subdivide.
Yeah, cut means it
it's
needs to be
but you
subdivided.
still need to have the approved.
Yeah,
And now I heard rumors that they make it harder now.
right.
Before 5 years ago, is anybody could just get it
Yeah.
all subdivide approved, but now they make it more difficult.
Yeah,
So
that's a
just be careful.
real good point.
Yeah.
We were told by two sources, both sources are pretty good, that the municipal is starting to get concerned. We're talking Dallin, is starting to get concerned with all the foreigners coming up here buying property, building houses left and right. Now, again, this is what we were told. Okay, so they're afraid that all this farmland is going to disappear. So they have no problem. In fact, Darwin is very friendly to foreigners regarding getting permits and things. You buy a piece of property, but if you buy a larger piece of property, meaning like a farm, and you want to break it up or cut it, like they say, and make a subdivision, they're starting to say, "Hey, we don't want to lose all our farmland and have all these subdivisions all over the mountain." Now, that's what we were told. Take it as true or not true. But if you think you're going to come here and buy a nice big piece of property and then subdivide it and then sell it off, that may be a challenge for you. Another great question. Okay, Matthew says, I have found trying to find good rentals or property to buy land has been hard. Either they are fake or they are asking way more than the house land is worth. 100%.
Yeah. We experienced that.
We experienced that times 10.
Yeah.
Remember, we went to Leyte, Bohol, Cebu, Negros. So we have 4 islands. We went all over Pangolo Island too. So call it a 5th island, even though it's attached to Bohol by a bridge. But let's just call it 5 islands we went to. So we did get some experience looking at property, looking at homes. It's cheaper to build. I mean, you just can't say that it's not. If you're going to buy this home, expect to be about 30% more if it's already built. Obviously, they want to make a nice profit on it. But if you want to buy, is it going to be what you want? So we wanted a very specific type of house. You guys know what it looks like. When you drive around this area, you see nothing like this house. You just don't. And we were joking about it the other day. Within a couple of years, there's probably going to be houses that look just like this, just because it's a different look.
Yeah.
Just
you
a
want to
different
tell highlight about the experience that we did in Leyte about that house that actually her own family is trying to up.
Oh yeah,
up
good.
Price.
Yeah, good.
That's
good
a
point.
good example.
A real good
To tell
example.
everyone.
In Leyte, there was a house that we saw on Facebook Messenger, and it looked really nice. Nice house, big pool. Had a second house for like guests.
Guest house.
Kubos on the property. Nice parking area. It looked really nice. And they said they wanted 15 million pesos. That's about $300,000, little less than $300,000. So I said, that's more than we want, because our budget was 8 million. So I said, but let's go see it because it looks really nice. So we went to the realtor, and the realtor said, I don't really want to show it to you. And I said, why? He goes, well, I'm kind of worried about telling you. But the realtor is kind of working with the sister of the wife, and they raised the price. What happened was, it was a Canadian. He lived there for many years, got cancer, and moved back to Canada for treatment, meaning he wasn't coming back. And the story was that he needed the money for his cancer treatment. So he wanted to sell the house for 9 million pesos. So the realtor and the caretaker,
which is the
who was
sister.
the sister,
They're in cahoots.
said, let's raise the price from 9 million to 15 million. We won't tell, because they're not coming back to the Philippines. We won't tell my sister and the Canadian, which is the brother-in-law. And we sell it for 15. We'll make 6. We'll split it 3 and 3. You take 3 million, I take 3 million, which is about $60,000 each. And the realtor that we were using told us that story.
Mhm.
So I said, oh, I definitely want to see the house now. Let's have some fun with it. So we saw the house and I said, you know what? I think this house is worth about 9 million.
Yeah.
Because that was the original price. And then I was really asking them, well, who owns it? Where is the person? Can I call them? You know, and you could just see them trying to think up ways
Yeah.
to get away from it.
Mhm.
And then I started talking about, you know, you got to be very careful because there's a lot of scammers around, you know, and you could see them not wanting to have that conversation. So,
Mhm.
you know, you have to really be thinking on your feet. And that's another point. Be street smart.
Mhm.
If you're an impulsive person and just see something you want to buy it, you know, the Philippines is probably not for you. You got to slow it down.
Take your time.
Take your time. Really check things through. When your realtor tells you one thing, don't take it as gospel. Go to an attorney. And even if the attorney tells you something, you know, I've heard stories where the attorney was wrong. You know, you really got to do everything you can to make sure that you're protecting yourself. And the only way to do that is to take it really, really slow. They're going to want to sell you the property right away. They're going to tell you, just like a used car salesman, oh, I got a guy coming in 15 minutes who's really interested. No, your answer when you hear that needs to be, oh, okay, sell it to them and then not buy the property, then tell them, you know, I'm not buying this property because of what you just said. So let's move on to the next property. You know, if you don't like confrontation and you're kind of a shy person, um, you know, you could get taken advantage of.
Easily.
You really could. Oh, our friend Jeff is on. Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
All right. Greetings from Kansas City, Kansas. Thanks for joining. So we got a couple good questions here so far today. Very nice. Lots of builds, multiple people vlogging them as well. You're tough, class act, follow through. Yeah, Ray, that's really important. You know, you really have to, you know, use the word tough. Maybe. I mean, you got to be careful because here with the culture, if you're too tough, everybody will back away
You'll offend them so
because
easily.
Filipinos do not like confrontation.
No.
So you have to really do the fine line. I think you have to build their trust. I think we were on site every day, and I think over time, you know, people got to know us that, you know, we weren't jerks. We just wanted things to be done correctly. So yeah, you definitely need to follow through, follow up, and know a little bit about what's going on. If you're going to be the person, which we've heard people say, "Oh, I don't get involved. I let my wife handle that." Well, if you met your wife here and she's not a contractor, what is she looking for? Oh, I don't. I go to the work site once a month, once a week. They're the people more likely than not that are going to get taken advantage of. Now, maybe not. Maybe not. I've said many times, I never build a house. If I was in the US, build a house here in the Philippines. I'd never do in a million years. I want to be here and watch it. However, you hear stories that people build houses and they're in their home country and it comes out perfect,
Very
right?
successful.
It's
Yeah.
very successful.
But not all of it.
But there's enough horror stories, absolute horror stories, which I don't know if we want to get into them because some of them are long-winded. Um, but the stories that I want to tell is stories as firsthand from the person to us. So you would assume it's relatively true. But if anything, even if it's not true, it still gets you thinking about being streetwise and, you know, protecting your money. So if you're an extremely trusting person, there's nothing wrong with that, but you could be separated from your money. So you just, again, it's all about risk management. There's going to be issues. You just have to try to minimize them. So good comment, Ray. My travels. Um, I don't even know what that word is. So I'll just skip it. From Camp Humphreys, looking forward to retiring in the Philippines. Yeah, so there's another person looking to retire in the Philippines. There's so many people that contact us. And I guess that's because our channel draws that type of person. Someone in their home country looking to retire, with the cost of living in these first world countries very, very high. We just had a lovely couple here from Germany, very nice family. And everything he was saying, it sounded like he lived in the US. The exact same issues with the cost of living and the taxes and the frustration that this gentleman had with his job. And, he talked about the woke environment. He's like, what? I just don't want to be in my home country anymore. And that's kind of how I felt. We came here, mainly because we liked the Philippines. Every time I visited, I really liked it. I love the weather. I love the look. I love being close to the ocean. The people are nice and the cost of living is low. So why not retire early if you can afford it and, build a house and just settle in? So it wasn't about anything really negative about the US. It was more about the positive of the Philippines. But I was frustrated with high taxes and, nobody worked but Wilma and I. It's very, very frustrating.
But just make sure that before you come and decide to retire here in the Philippines, just come and check it out first.
That's great.
Maybe spend a month,
Yeah.
just check different island and see if this is for you.
That is probably the best advice of the
Yeah.
whole video here, the whole
You
live
can't
stream.
just sell everything and just you haven't been here and then just come here and retire. What if this is not for you guys?
Yeah, great, great point. You hear about guys that are my age or a little older. I'm 56. I would say the average is more in closer to the 60 mark. But there's people that's moving here in the 40s too, because call them digital nomad. They can work online, things like that. So I think the age of the expat is starting to go down
It's going to go
because
younger and younger
you
now.
can work
Online.
online. So that's happening. But don't sell your house, your car, your belongings, and never have visited the country you're going to live in. Don't do that. Come visit, like Wilma said. You get a free visa for 29 days, cost you nothing. You just show up here, get a plane ticket, go to immigration, say, I'm here for 28 days. They stamp you with your visa, tourist visa, for 29 days.
If you like it, you want to extend it, you can renew it.
Right, you can extend it up to 3
Extend
years.
it to 3 years.
Yeah, you could extend that visa all the way up to 3 years if you wanted to. And then, another good point is just don't come to Dumaguete and look around Dumaguete just because there's a lot of bloggers in Dumaguete. Go to Cebu, go to Manila, go to Luzon,
Go to Bohol.
go to Bohol. Yeah, go to different islands and see what they have to offer. They're all a little different, and then there's a lot of things that are the same. So do you want expats around or do you not want expats around? Do you want to be able to get a good hamburger downtown or do you want to eat rice and fish every day? These are all things that you have to decide for yourself. And it sounds great when you're living in your penthouse in Manhattan to say, oh, yeah, I love to eat rice and fish every day.
You get tired of it.
Yeah, and I don't want to have any Americans, any foreigners around me at all. Well, guess what? You're never going to talk to anybody. It's very difficult to really have a conversation with most Filipinos.
Yeah,
Not all.
That's another reason why we picked this area, really, because I know my family is from Leyte,
Yeah.
but we picked this area because of the amenities, like foreign restaurant, and you could buy foreign food, and
Yes.
you get to meet some nice,
Nice
foreigners.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and that was a surprise. So here's where during the video, the live stream, I say, here was something that I didn't anticipate. We were here 4 times visited before we moved here. We were here many, many times, all the way back in 2004. So I had some experience being back and forth 4 times. But you really want to come here and check it out.
Definitely, that's it's your whole life, it's your future. You don't want to just sell everything and come here and then comes to find out this is not for you.
Yeah. And then the big surprise for me was I said, I would love to get away from the rat race. That's true. And I don't want to be around any expats. Well, come to find out, that's not true. So the
Yeah.
big surprise for me is I enjoy having expats in this area. Now, if you don't like that expat, don't hang out with them. But it is nice to get together. And what we normally do is, and it's actually growing, I think we're up to 15, 20 couples. Very nice people that on occasion, once a month, we meet at a resort, have lunch, spend a few hours having a conversation. I actually enjoy that as compared to being tucked away somewhere where there's
You only can talk to me.
yeah, because most of the people around us, like where we are now, people that really don't speak English, a little bit of English.
Yeah.
So you can say good morning, how are you, how's your day going, and really that's it. You're not going to have any more conversation. So you probably didn't think of that. I didn't think of that. So you're not going to have any conversations with anyone other than your wife. So here, there's so many foreigners. We've made good friends just from the subscribers that we met.
Yes.
Maybe 2 out of 10 visits. Most people go back to their home country because they're visiting, but we've met subscribers that we don't call them subscribers anymore. They're
It's a
friends.
friend,
We invite them up. We have a
yeah.
good time. We can sit down and have a conversation. It's really diverse in this area, which I love. I don't want to hang out with just Americans. I want to have friendships with people all over the world because you get a different point of view, and it's just nice, to learn different cultures. And I think the guys that's been up here, especially the guy from Germany, I was asking a lot of questions because I'm curious about Germany. I've never been there, so I'm trying to learn different points of view and different cultures just because I'm interested. So that was my big surprise. I wanted to get that out on this live stream. I like the fact that I know there's a bunch of foreigners here. Now, do I want everyone up here at the house every day? Of course not. You're selective. We like our quiet time, but we also like going out to dinner with people or hanging out with our friends, going to their house, or they come up to us. We enjoy that once in a while, and I think you would miss that if you just tucked your way into some
little barangay.
a little barangay
Yeah,
somewhere where there's, yeah, say in Leyte,
Yeah.
where there's really no foreigners. Maybe that's for you, but it wasn't for me, and I didn't think about that when I was in the U.S. Let's move on. I think I went too long on that answer. Um, After property purchase, how long to get permits to build? Really, really a great question. There's two ways of going about it. If you've done your homework and you know that the transfer of title is going to go smoothly, which means, the person you're dealing with is the owner and you gave it to an attorney and he did his checks and everything's okay. You went to the municipal to ask if it could be built upon. The subdivision, if it's been cut, has been approved. We went down to Down as a second check, even though our lawyer said it was fine. Hey, can we build on this property? Because we heard that too. We've heard where people buy property, they go get their permits and they say, no, you can't build on that property. They got scammed. So after you do all that, our permits in Down took 2 weeks. So what we did at the same time we were looking for property, we already got a hold of our architect. He was working on our design. I already interviewed, and I interviewed 3 architects. I interviewed 4 contractors. I was already having conversations with contractors, talking about the type of build. So all that was in the works. So then when we found the property and then bought the property, got the deed of sale, All that stuff was in motion. And then I set up a meeting. So it kind of called me the GC a little bit. I had a meeting where I introduced the contractor with the architect, and they had a conversation with me present. And then we talked through the build, when we were going to start, what excavation needed to be done. And we went down through the list, and it was a very good meeting because it got us aligned with them.
Yeah.
And we talked about expectations. And what I did was, and I kept everything. I had a pad of paper during that meeting, and I said, okay, so you just talked about the water. Who's responsible for the water? I need a name. Oh, that's going to be Bob. Okay, Bob's responsible. When is Bob going to have it done? It should take no more than 30 days. Okay, Bob's responsible for the water, take no more than 30 days. And we went right down the list.
Checklist.
So then when the meeting was over, nobody can go back a week later and say, oh, I didn't know I was responsible for that. Well, it's on the minutes. So again, that's just another example where I wanted to be comfortable because we wanted this house built in 6 months. And we wanted to move in because we were renting, and our rent was $400 a month. And every month we extended was just another $400 we couldn't put in this house. So we wanted to get the house built,
Yeah.
and have commitments. We moved in day 184, so we missed it by 4 days. And then the house was really done around day 200. So it was about 7 months, but that's not bad. So great question. And that differs by municipal. So that's another point. I was told that Darwin is quick, took 2 weeks. But I heard other municipals take longer. So the answer is you would really have to check your specific municipal. Southern brother in the islands. The builder that I just went to get a quote from knows about leach fields, thankfully. Yeah, that's great. I think it's important to have a leach field. And I think it's also important to have your septic a little higher than the grade of your property, because water control is huge. And I have like the original notes. This is over a year old. And the first thing I have on here looking for property is no rice fields.
Yes.
We did not want to buy property in a
Yeah.
rice field because the water table is just too high. So maybe there's no water at the surface, but if your septic system is 6 foot in the ground, how do you know your septic system is not full of water? And especially when it rains hard and you get, like, say, a typhoon, and you can see standing water in that rice field, you know that water table is very, very high. So your septic system could be full of water. So I always wanted the septic system to be a little higher than grade. So if that ever happened here, at least we have some additional space in the septic itself. So all these little details is very, very important. But I have a list of what we were looking for property, and we were picky. We looked at over 150 pieces of land, and there was times where a lot of things lined up, but one thing wasn't there, and we said we're not buying the property, and we moved on. And it was frustrating. Jeff says it is stunning what realtors get away with in the Philippines. That's true.
That is so true.
Very, very true. So your realtor is really just someone that is just showing you the land, and that's it. Don't ask them for advice. And you can ask for advice, but just when you hear it, you just got to realize that it may not be true. Oh, the property's fantastic. It'll transfer title, no problem. And then you find out that you can't transfer the title. So you're going to go back to the realtor. They're going to go, sorry, there's no repercussions. So you really use a realtor just to show you the area. Now, I will say that Alma was one of our 3 realtors, and she was great. She was very, very open, and I felt very comfortable with her.
Yeah.
And she helped us understand a few things, because we would say, hey, we're thinking about this. She goes, oh, you might want to rethink that. because she had, the experience of being in the business. So when you find somebody, that is giving you some good information, we found out the information she gave us was true. That's good to know as well. But to have just one realtor, Jeff, no way. Have multiple,
Yeah.
because you'll just get, educated on how things are here. How long should you schedule the excavator company to dig foundation? That depends on where the property is. Can you get an excavator there? And how many rock is on the property? So knowing the excavator that we had, the pool, the house, and the fence, 1,100 square meter property with a lot of rocks. It took 7 days. Now there were 10-hour days, but it took 7 days. But I was here for every minute of those 70 hours.
We need to, because we were charged hourly rate.
Charge hourly
So make
rate.
sure you got your hour every hour worth it.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Charge by the hour, and if they sit around just doing nothing because you're not there for 3 hours, you're going to pay for those 3 hours, and the excavator didn't even move. So it took us 7 days.
7 working days.
7 working days. So if you have no rocks, that's half the time. So I would say 3 days. You could do the foundation of the house, foundation of the pool, and your fence on like a 1,100 square meter lot. I would say 3 days with no obstructions. We had a couple of trees with some big roots and a lot of rock. It took 7 days. So another very good question. Southern brother in the islands. Half jobs happen even when the house builds here. It's a headache in the making. 100%. And I think that's because people give too much money up front. So I hear a lot where people give, let's just round off 10 million pesos. We spent 7.8, but just say 10 million. A lot of builders says, I want 5 million up front. Why do you need $100,000 up front?
It's a lot.
You're going to buy $1,000 worth of cement, $500 worth of rock, and your payroll is going to be a couple $100. Why do you need $100,000? So I would never give a contractor 50%. And what happens here all the time, and again, we have two examples that's going on at this very moment. One was a rehab and one was a brand new build. And I'll talk about the brand new build. Paid 50% down, contractor did
30%.
30% and just stopped building. And now the money spent, you go to the contractor, and this gentleman said, the contractor said, I spent your money elsewhere. I know I'm doing multiple builds. I don't have the money. So now you just lost $100,000. You lost $100,000. So what do? You have to go through the court systems and get an attorney, and you're the foreigner.
Will take years.
It'll take a long time, and more than likely you'll never get your money back. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll get some of it back. I guess there's all different stories out there. So break it up in small pieces. Our contractor was great. We said it was a 6-month build, so we broke it up into 6 equal payments. Then when we saw the bill going a little longer, I think we extended it out another 2 months. So we broke it up over 8 payments. He was fine with it. I was very good with the money. When he asked for money, we gave it to him. And it wasn't an issue. Got receipts. So we had a good working relationship, but we broke it up monthly. Because why do you need 50% up front? That just sounds like you're giving somebody a bunch of cash and they're going to go on vacation. They're going to use it for other builds. They're going to renovate their house. And then when it comes time to buy the roof, he has no money.
He spent it already.
He spent it already. He has no money for your roof because he just fixed his roof. Happens all the time. Next question. I got to click. How long did it take to fully process your title? Great question. If everything is clear, you're dealing with the person who owns it. Very, very important. So there's a lot of titles here that is, in grandpa's name. Grandpa died.
We call it mother title.
Yeah, mother title. Grandpa died 10 years ago. Grandpa had 7 kids. So the way the law here works, doesn't matter if grandpa had a will or not. The 7 kids own the property equally. One kid could be in the US, one could be a maid in Saudi Arabia, one could be in Manila, one could be passed away. Well, you got to contact those 7 siblings and get them to sign off. So if the property is titled already properly, and the person that you're dealing with is the person's name on the title, so it's all legit. Best case scenario is about 7 months as we understand it. The land here was transferred to Wilma's name in 7 months. In Leyte, the house she built in Leyte, it took 12 months.
Yeah, a little over a year.
Yeah, 12, 13 months. But I've heard 5 years, and I've also heard 5 years later, it's still not done. So again, it depends on what is the current state of the property, the status. Because most people, grandpa never titled, or maybe grandpa titled the property, but when grandpa died and it got willed or transferred down through an inheritance law to the 7 kids, the 7 kids were supposed to transfer the title, and the title is going to cost them $300. They're like, I'm not spending $300 on it. Do we own the property? Yes. Okay, I'm good enough with that, but they don't have proper paperwork. They're okay with it, but when they go to sell it, it's now your problem. Did they pay the taxes? Is the tax declaration, which is more of a minor issue. But if they own the property, say for 10 years, maybe they didn't pay the taxes for 10 years. Well, now there's penalties. Well, you know who's going to pay the back taxes? You are, because you're going to go to them and say, pay the back taxes. And they're going to go, I don't have that money. I'm selling the property because I don't have any money. So how can I pay back taxes when I have no money? So then 2 things has to happen. You walk and say, I'm not buying it, or you pay it. And is that fair? No. But if you want that property, you're going to pay the back taxes. So all good questions, guys. Does the design engineer charge extra for any revisions to design plan as the build evolves? Ours did not. As things changed, just made revisions to the plans and then gets submitted. As long as there's nothing major, like if you change outlets around or change a window size or something like that, there's not going to be any changes to the blueprints. It's a term here used, as built. So as long as the dimensions and the large constructions is the same, they're not going to make any revisions anyway. But if you're moving walls and things like that, yes. And we didn't do any of that, so there wasn't any additional charges. Good questions. Live from Arizona, loud and clear. That's good. And that's from Alan and Jessica. Hi, guys. Friendly, yes. Honest, rarely. Words of wisdom. And the word honest here takes on a little different meaning, I think, because of the culture than the US. It's the way business is done here. I'll give you a little example, and it's happened to us many times, especially when we first moved here in Leyte. We would go to a town where we need to meet up with a realtor. We don't know where we're at. We go somewhere and say, hey, do you know where XYZ is? The person that you're talking to doesn't want to say no, right? If someone's coming to you, if I'm sitting in New York and someone goes, hey, do you know where, John Doe is? I have no clue. And the person moves on. Here, they're like, yeah, down that way.
Is it over there?
Or yeah, they point with their lips.
Over there.
Yeah, where does John Doe live?
Down the road.
That way. That's where they live.
By the coconut tree. And there's a million coconut trees.
Yeah. So things are just a little different. So I guess what I'm trying to say to us foreigners, to us expats, there's nothing wrong with being friendly, but when it's business, the friendship goes away. It's all business. So in the business world, when someone tells you something, you have to think about it and say, is that true? Because just because someone says it, I can say I'm 6'4" and good looking, doesn't mean that it's true. I'm not 6'4".
You're
So
good looking.
yeah, I left that. I didn't say it. But when it's business, it's business. So if you don't have any business savvy or street smarts at all, the risk goes up.
Yeah.
This is all about risk mitigation. So you have to confront, you have to question, you have to be all business. You have to know. How do you know? You have to do your research. Rely on someone who's done it before. She's titled the house before. Talk to realtors, get information. Maybe 50% of it's not true, but maybe 50% is. Now you have to figure out what 50% is true. Talk to architects, talk to lawyers, talk to contractors, go talk to the main engineer in your municipal. All of a sudden, you talk to 7 people, ask the same questions.
You get different answer.
You may get different answers, or you may get 2 different, 5 the
Mhm.
same. You have to do that. Talk to people on the street. Talk to other builders. Our contractor took us to a build that he did, and I got a chance to meet that foreigner, and I got a chance to ask him questions. So the more people you talk to, the more information you have. Use YouTube University. Watch a lot of different builds. We watch builds now and I go, oh, that's not true because I went through it. Or I watch a build and they're like, oh yeah, that is true. So now I have some knowledge. So the more you talk about it and the more you do your research, the more information and more education you're going to have. And again, what does that do? Lowers the risk. So good point, Jeff. Too friendly is probably a problem. Cool shirt, very handsome, Greg. But sorry, Wilma looks beautiful, especially your nice necklace.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. When are the puppies getting adopted and will you show us their new owners? If they want to be on camera, yes. All subject to change. Our understanding is there's a very nice couple moving here who already have a house in the Philippines, but they live in the US. They're getting ready to retire to the Philippines. They just lost a dog for what they told me. I don't know if that was in the US or here, not sure. And they said, we would love to adopt both puppies to keep them together. We saw a photo of the couple, so very nice. So I'm sure they'll come here and they may change their mind. They can do so. But I really would want these puppies to be adopted to stay together would be fantastic. But go to a foreigner because I think I mentioned it before. Our other puppies, they're just not being taken care of. Period. We'll leave it at that. And it's hard to see. It's hard to watch. But yeah, if they want to be on camera, no problem. And we're trying to get closer to getting Sandy fixed. It's just difficult because we talk to people locally and we had people come to us and said, it's a female dog. You can't fix a female dog,
Yeah.
only male dogs.
They would laugh actually.
And I had a
And,
couple people that we went to that does it, actually performs it. And they went, you can't fix a female dog. Now, again, it's through Messiah. And we're going, well, maybe you can't, but it happens all over the world. See what I mean by culture? Things are different. Yeah, you can't you can't spay a female dog. It's impossible. So, so now we're going to Dumageddon. We have 3 places.
Yeah, we had to go.
And we got to
check it
go
out.
there and check out the 3 places, and we got to get that taken care of. Hello from St. Louis, Missouri.
Click on
Oh, I didn't click on it?
it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, James. St. Louis, Missouri, show me state. Next up, how many people we are? 65, very good. How many quotes did you get from your house plan, and what were the average prices of the plans? Um, we interviewed 3 architects. Really liked the one we picked, Roy. I've recommended him to you guys on emails many, many times. In fact, the last time we spoke to him, he kind of said, ease up.
He get really busy.
I think we got him 4 builds so far. So he's making money from our channel. That's fantastic. Very good guy. He goes by the house,
The size,
the style of the house and all that. It wasn't expensive. Do you remember, for just the house? I'm gonna say 15,000 pesos for the blueprints for the house. And I think it was like 10,000 for the fence, 10,000 for the pool, I think, just the plans. And then there's permit charges, and then the water hookup charge, and then the electric hookup charge. So there's multiple charges.
Yeah, he did that for
He
us.
did everything
Just-
for us. But I think it was like 15,000 just for the house. Guys, that's cheap, 300 bucks for, for blueprints. And we were in Leyte at that time, so when I did all the designing myself and gave it to him, we were Zoom meeting back and forth, trying to dial it in. And we had several conversations, and he didn't charge us extra. It was like 15,000. Now I'll verify that. We'll go look,
Yeah.
and then I'll post something on our next video if I was wrong with that, but I think it was 15,000. It's a great question. How long for the utility power company to locate your utility pole for your electrical service interest? Is there a charge cost? Yeah, you have to fill out paperwork. You have to have photos of yourself to give to them. We had our architect handle all that for us. Don't remember what the total cost was. It wasn't that much. So we're gonna probably have to go on our next video and put some of the costs in. He handled everything. It did take time. You have to purchase everything yourself and have your electrician put everything onto the pole. The electric company does provide a free meter, but then they turn around and say it's going to take 2 or 3 months to install it. So they're basically telling you to do it yourself. So we went and bought our own meter, and we bought the best one we could get,
Yeah.
you know, digital and all that. I think it was like 1,000 pesos. It was very cheap.
For the meter, yeah.
It's like
It's
about
1,000,
20
yeah.
bucks for the meter. So you buy everything yourself and they install in the pole. And then if you have your own transformer, you get that company to install a transformer. You're not hooked up yet. So you have to do the temporary. So then you give the meter to the electric company and they validate that it works. And then you schedule them to come hook it up, and then they come hook it up. We dragged our feet a little bit because we didn't need electricity here because we were using the neighbor's electricity. But I think it would be probably 60 days.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
about 60 days to go through that process. And you also have to do a seminar. And
You do online too.
yeah, it's an online seminar that you have to participate in. And then it gets approved, and then you get a certificate.
You get like a card.
You get a
Like
card
proof.
and then a certificate, and then that you can take now to Polaris where we got it for the hookups. So yeah, probably 60 days. Okay, R. Gill, good morning, Greg and Wilma. I have a few questions about construction of a new home. Did you consider where to build based on natural disaster like typhoon, earthquake, and landslide? The answer is yeah, that was a consideration. Wilma always said, now she's from Leyte, never build on the east side of Leyte.
Always get hit with typhoon.
Typhoon. Her house is on the west side.
Yeah.
So yes, that was a consideration. That this Dumaguete area is known, all the locals say all the time, very rarely gets a direct hit.
Yeah.
It usually comes in from the east into the Visayas, around Samar, Leyte area, and turns north, or southern and goes through Mindanao. Very rarely does this area get a direct hit. I guess it can happen. And then, of course, landslides and things like that. Of course, one of the big requirements that was here on our original list was I wanted the road of in front of the property to be lower than the property itself. Meaning, I didn't want property like this where the road's up here and the house is down there. You see it a lot. We found some nice property where it clicked off all the boxes, but where we would build the house would be lower than the road. And I always say to Wilma, well, if you get a typhoon here, and the rain here is much more violent than what I'm
Yeah.
used to, your house can flood very, very fast. So the road is concrete. Now here, the cul-de-sac is dirt and stone. But if you're on a concrete, if that floods, where's the water going? It's going down. It's going right
Down.
into your house. So one of the requirements was the house had to be higher than the road. And then where we built the house was going to be the highest spot of the property. So this house is built at the very back of the property. It's the highest point of the property, and everything flows behind the house and in front of the house. Um, and around our house, we have absolutely no issues with drainage, except for all the way in the front, which is getting addressed very, very soon. So, really good question. I just had topographical survey done on the lot we're buying by Greg and Wilma. The survey I got from your architect was 1/3 of the quote I got done in a few days. Was 1/3 of the other quote I got was done in a few days. Yeah, shop around, right?
Mhm.
Absolutely shop around because you don't know if you just don't know prices. We know prices now, so it's hard to get over on us when we know the prices. We've been here long enough, but if you're new to the area, you just don't know the prices. And so many people overpay and just don't realize it because you think it's cheap. Survey in the US is $2,000. Here they say 500. Oh, that's cheap. All right, but everyone else is paying 200. You paid 500. So you did get ripped off. So great great point. Definitely shop around. Mel says, "Good morning, guys from Malaysia." Good morning,
Good
Mel.
morning.
Longtime viewer. Blue John. Some foreigners bought a home build on my wife's lot. Some foreigner bought a home to build on my wife's lot. Not sure what that means. What I read into that is that someone built a house on your wife's property without permission. That's how I read that. So just confirm that. Okay, Scott, are you afraid the road of infrastructure in Darwin will not be able to keep up with the flood of business, tourist relocations? It looks good now, but how about, yeah, good point. They're widening the roads everywhere, even our road going down the mountain, just the little barangay road. They're working on right now. They're just about done. They're
Yeah.
90% done. They're widening the roads. There's just so much construction here.
Yeah.
They did a real nice job from Darwin to Pecong. They repaved the road. They're putting those lights in the road that is solar.
Reflection, yeah.
The road is very wide. So the question is, I think that they're starting to keep up with the infrastructure, but you never know. We've said it many times here. I think Darwin, for many, many reasons, is going to be the next big thing. I'm not saying that just because we bought the property, because do we really want it to be that busy here? We don't. We like the quiet. But I really do think just because there's so many resorts here and there's so many dive shops and diving is such a big tourist attraction. And our good friend Justin, who has his own dive shop, Critter Republic, is really marketing Darwin, and he has a lot of followers. And he's teaming up with Darwin tourists and really trying to get Darwin to be a destination spot. So with all that together, you're right, Scott. infrastructure needs to be a little ahead of that. Will it be ahead? Probably not, but if it's equal to, it's probably okay. So great question. And it's something we can't control. We like it quiet, but there's nothing wrong with, having a lot of infrastructure, better infrastructure, which will pull in more people, nicer houses, property values go up. We don't really care about that. We don't care if this property is worth 10 million or 20 million because we're not selling it. But it's not a bad thing for it to be worth more. It's only important if you're going to sell it. Chicken legs. Yes, Greg, you look dapper. Think the new phone camera makes you look older and Wilma younger. Yeah, I had somebody else say that too. They said the new camera is showing more gray. That's okay. That's fine. Makes me look distinguished. Makes me look more dapper. Does the town of Dumagetti request a town project permit too? No. If so, what are the costs? Also, does the town have inspections on a weekly basis? So no, it's all Dowen. The municipal here is Dowen. All the permits is through Dowen. They did come up when the land was getting titled because they had to do a site survey of the property. So they did that. They just want to make sure that it really is there, and they want to prove that it's the right size and things like that. So they did that early on, and that's just one step of getting the title transferred to Wilma's name. And then once the house is built, we had people come up and look at the house just to say, yes, it's there. And then now we're in the process of getting our OC. So just 2 visits. That's all it was. 2 visits from the municipal. Chicken legs. When building your beautiful home, what permits was needed to satisfy the local building codes? Great question. So if you're building a house, you need a house permit. If you're building a fence around your house, you have to have a fence permit. And then if you're building a pool, you have to have a pool permit. So we had to have 3 permits, 3 separate permits.
And 3 different blueprints for it.
And 3 different blueprints.
Yes.
Yes. Very good question. And don't build till you have your permits.
That's a no-no, guys.
Yeah.
Make sure you have it on your hands.
Have the permits in your hands.
Yeah, and post your permit number.
Yeah, you're supposed to post your permit number.
Yes.
We did on the little shack out there, just in case somebody
In case
comes
there's
up
a
here.
surprise visit.
They can just look up the number and verify. So yeah, do things correctly. Don't make any shortcuts.
Yeah.
There's another thing. See, all these things in my mind, so thank you for reminding me. We know of people firsthand.
Yeah.
Now this is really on the contractor, not ours, because we had all our permits. Builder took 50% down. Contractor says, I'll get your permits. The owner of the property happened to be American with his Filipina wife. Again, we spoke to this person face to face. Contractor never got the permits for whatever reason. Wanted to save the money. I don't know. It's not that much money. Never took 50% down. The municipal found out about it, went and visited. Contractor was not there, but the foreman was there. Told everybody, leave the property now. All the workers, leave, shut it down. I might be wrong with the months. I'm going to be close. 7 to 8 months later, 7 to 8 months later, still no permits, no crew on the job.
They're idle.
Sitting there idle. Can you imagine? All because the contractor, again, not mine, different contractor, didn't do the right thing, got caught. I would imagine the municipal is just teaching a lesson,
Yeah.
dragging their feet, giving permits because they did things wrong. But I put some of the blame, or at least I would have put the blame on me because my architect got the permits. And I remember going to or communicating with our architect. When you get the permit, call me. I will go to your office and I remember I said to him, I want you to put the permits in my hand. That's how I said it to him.
Yeah.
Again, you have to be straightforward. There's nothing wrong with being straightforward. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't swear. I didn't put anybody down. I just said, I don't want you to give it to this person, to give to that person, to give to the I want you to put the permits in this hand. And then he gave us multiple copies. I think 3 copies of each. So
Yeah.
we went home, put 3 copies away, 1 of each away, originals, and then we brought the copies,
For a
for the contract.
Yeah.
So how did I know we had permits? Because I picked them up. Now, if you're the type of person, I'm not gonna get involved. I'm gonna be at the beach, or you hear, I'm gonna be at the bar drinking. I'll let my wife handle it. No, it's your money. So great, great question. Okay, does engineer architect do swimming pool design? Yes. Yeah, our architect did everything for us, as well as get the permits. And remember, when they say get the permits, he fills out all the paperwork. He drives to Darwin. He has the meeting with the municipal engineer. He gets everything approved. He gets all the signatures,
They
right?
even come to our barangay to get the
Yeah,
what
the
is
clearance.
the clearance,
Yeah.
just the clearance to the
Yeah,
property.
one of the steps is to go right here to barangay,
Yeah.
to the barangay captain, and get a clearance to bring to the municipal.
Yeah.
Because, they have to know that we're building, and that's just one form that has to be filled out. We could have done that, but he drove to the barangay to get it. And remember, and this is just the truth and my opinion, so it's my opinion, but it's the truth at the same time. If I went to get it, it would take longer than if he did it,
Yes.
right? He's known for number one. He's a Filipino. He can navigate through these offices much faster
And we
than
are.
I can. One, I've never done it, and 2, I'm a foreigner, so I'm always wondering if there's going to be delays because of it, because we were told that. And actually, we were put on one goose chase. We won't talk about that.
Yeah.
But I was involved with one thing early on, and I got kind of sent on a wild goose chase. And then our architect said, "Now let me handle that." And within literally 1 hour, it was resolved.
Yeah, and the only one thing that the architect needed from me is make sure your wife or fiance or your partner has the cedula from the municipal,
Yeah,
because he need that.
and TIN number,
Yeah, the TIN number,
a
which
TIN,
I gotten lately.
yeah, like a tax number,
Yeah.
tax identification number.
Yeah.
So you could have a TIN number and then cedula.
And a copy of your driver's license or any type of ID.
Right, ID, approved national
yeah.
ID. Yeah, all good points. R. Gill says, are the contractors familiar, ICF insulated concrete forms, foundations, they have a higher insulation value, R20 depending on. Yeah, the answer is not really. You see more and more houses being built with poured walls. Is poured walls better? I think so, compared to block. However, there's a lot of crews here, or I'll say most crews here don't know how to do it. And I can give you a specific example. A friend of ours just built an absolute gorgeous house 3 miles from us. Finally moved in, beautiful house. I'd like to video it. He was up at the site quite a few times on one of our videos.
He actually help you with the electrical.
Yeah, he was a contractor back in the US. He has a
US.
lot of experience. He said, I'm building poured walls. The crew that he assembled didn't know how to do it. Literally did not know how to do it. So what he did, he was smart. we're gonna start with the fence before we start building the house. So he taught them how to form up and poured the fence. And he did say there was a big learning curve. So he has that expertise and the time to be on site. So everything went fine. But imagine being me and saying, this is what I want, but I can't give you any advice. I'm not a builder. Just go for it. And they never done it before.
So, yeah, it's
You're not going to
practice on
practice.
you.
Yeah, not going to practice on my house. So is it better? Yeah, but I have no problems the way this house is constructed at all. It's extremely strong. What does that mean? Haseo. I'm not sure what that means.
Let me closer.
Must be in
Anyong,
Visaya. Not sure.
Haseo. Not sure.
We don't know what that means. Sorry. Maybe you can on another comment. We have 73 people on, so it's growing a little bit. I can't see how many likes we have because I'm using StreamYard, but if you wouldn't mind, hit the like button. What is the procedure for garbage disposal during construction? And now that the property is complete on a weekly basis? Super question. And that was kind of a thing that kind of drove me crazy just because I'm so neat. The construction site was a mess, and it's really up to the contractor to remove the trash. Our contractor did. Took a little time, but did have everything cleaned up. So make sure that's part of your agreement that they are to take everything away. And just leave some meat on the bone. Leave a little money out there at the end, and until the punch list is created. Create a punch list and say, okay, once the punch list is done, once all the garbage is picked up, you get your final payment. That's what we did. Contractor was fine with that. Once everything was done, I think he came up the next day, and we said, here's the final payment. He was completely paid off, gave us the receipt, and we were good to go. So it's very, very important to have a good relationship. And it's also important to have all these difficult conversations up front.
Upfront, yes.
Before think of everything that you're going to, hey, this is what I said. I'm going to be on site every day. I'm going to be a pain in the butt. I'm going to video. I won't embarrass anybody. If someone says, I don't want to be on camera, I will not put you on camera. But if your guy say, yeah, I don't mind, then I will put them on camera. I'm going to be very involved. We're going to make a lot of changes. Write down the list. I said all of that when we were meeting for coffee before I signed the contract. So do that. Make sure that you have all those conversations. I had a good working relationship with our contractor. We had a lot of laughs. We disagreed on things. I used a lot of his suggestions because I said, I want to do it this way. And he would come to me, especially with paint color. And there was a lot of other things too. He would come and say, hey, Greg, I know this is what you want, but my experience is this. And I would turn and I'd be like, that does make sense. And I would do what he said just because he has the experience. So we made the house better because we were here, and we also said up front, we're going to make changes, small changes. We're not going to change where the house is going or the walls. We're not going to move walls. But through the design of the house, we've definitely made some changes. And you need to have all those conversations up front and agreed upon and in writing. Argil says, do you have any idea of oceanfront land values? No.
It varies because I heard from 15,000 peso to 25,000 peso per square meter. So it varies where it is and what island. So
yeah.
But over here, I heard that it's very pricey.
Yeah, oceanfront is very, very expensive. Mike Ross says, what was the price per square meter of your house, construction costs only? not including land. We did a video on that, Mike. Just go back about 20 videos in our playlist. We break it down, total cost, break it down by item. So it's all there. Maria, hello from Kansas. Thanks for the info. You're welcome, Maria. Have you seen a cobra since being in the Philippines? What about dangerous jellyfish that are small and hard to see? Thanks. The answer is no. You know, what's really strange, and I don't know if we got into it too much on this channel, but Wilma has a very extreme phobia of snakes.
Yes.
When she was a little girl, she had a very large cobra fall out of a tree and land on her. And it came, it came up. And then luckily her brothers and father was there and killed it. If she sees a snake on TV, she's sick for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Sick. If she sees a snake, it's over. If she goes to a toy store and sees a plastic snake, she will scream in the store and run, scream. So it's just a phobia. We were this close to buying a house in Bohol. It was built by an American, very similar lot, a little bigger. House was 2-story, so we were a little off about that, but it was a good price.
It was a good view. So you can see the
unbelievable.
Cebu City.
You can see Cebu City at night. We were there 3 times. The husband was in the U.S. and the wife was in at the house. And the owner kept saying, when you look at the house, I want to do FaceTime. I was like, well, this is too much work. I just want to talk to your wife. And I think he didn't want his wife to say too much. So she said, and like I said, 3rd time, and we were very close to buying it. We were going to buy the house. So she goes, I have 2 German Shepherds. I want you to know that the dogs come with the house. And I'm like, we don't want your 2 dogs. If we buy this house, you have to take the dogs with you. She goes, well, the dogs chase the cobras away. We have a lot of cobras that come up the mountain. Wilma looked at me and said, let's go. We got in the car and left. The house sale fell through right there just because the owner said, you want a dog on the property because there's cobras.
They're dangerous.
They're very dangerous.
You get bite, you're dead.
So I'll say it here. Most of you probably won't believe it, but all the ladies that work here in the area says that they've been working here for years and have never seen a snake. We've been here 7 months during the build. We've been here several months now, so a year. I walk all through the jungle in shorts and flip-flops. I've never seen a mouse. I've never seen a rat. I've never seen a snake. Because of the elevation, maybe. It's cold. All the rock walls, I'm in out of there. I was power washing. If there was any snakes in there, they would have came out. We just don't think there's any snakes here. That's our opinion. And again, the gardener, Coding, who works for the subdivision, she's been working here for years. So she's out there in all these rock walls weeding every day. And she said she has never once seen a snake. So that's kind of hard to believe, but we haven't seen one yet either. So Jeff says, while the videos and photos are great, when seeing Greg and Wilma's beautiful house in person, I can say it's even nicer in real life. They did it right. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate that very much.
See you in December.
Yeah, you're coming for a visit in December. Looking forward to seeing you for sure. So yeah, a lot of people say that. A lot of people say that, the house, when you see it live, especially the ocean view. So we appreciate that. Very nice comment. Blueberry says, when shopping around for your split type AC, did you get a lot of outrageous pricing? What make did you go with and what company you're leaning towards? Daikin through Polaris. Daikin's a very good brand. I think that's a South Korean brand. We went with City Hardware's brand, which is Boston Bay.
Boston Bay.
They're made by Carrier. The research that I did, they're a Carrier product, well-known product. The prices did vary. What made us go with Boston Bay, number one, our contractor sent me a text and said, "Hey, Boston Bay's having an unbelievable Christmas sale. You might want to get involved." So we got that information from our contractor. And I think the very next day we went. So when we were doing the shopping, it was relatively close to prices, maybe $100 difference between low and high. But then, and we knew that Boston Bay was a Carrier product because one, I did the research already, and two, the salespeople told us that. And then I went and did the research just to confirm that they were telling the truth. But the price was half.
Ah,
It was a 50% off because
yes.
they said they got a container load. So how could you say no to 50% off? And they have their own folks, so it doesn't void the warranty to install it. And they were great. So we put 4 of them in. We don't use them. They haven't been turned on in weeks and weeks and months. Once in a while, I'll go around. Like the 2 spare bedrooms, I haven't had them on in 4 months, but I really should
You
turn
should
them
turn it
on,
on.
once in a while just to let it run. But yeah, you can't go wrong with Daikin though, because I heard they're very good as well. But we said that as well, but we were looking for deals too, prices. Almost everything we bought was on sale. A refrigerator, we were watching that refrigerator for 4 months.
Yeah, the stove.
The very specific refrigerator we wanted. And then, right when we were getting ready to buy it, they had a sale. It was like 30% off. We hit that right. Everything we bought was a sale except the stove. The stove never went on sale.
They gave us a few, okay,
Yeah,
2,000.
yeah, they gave us, like $40 off. But yeah, I mean, price has something to do with it too.
The stove is pretty high. Yeah.
Greg, why do electricians not install concrete boxes and conduit in the concrete pour in the Philippines? We do it here in Canada always. They cut the block after. I know.
Always.
We call it, Wilma and I,
Chip, chip, chip.
yeah, chip, 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 redo, redo, redo. Wilma and I have said that line 1,000 times. I did a video on it. That's just the way they do it here. They build the concrete wall with hollow block and then chip, 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 and then bury the conduit. I can't explain it. I would definitely ask the guys, and again, they just say, "Well, that's the way we do it here." And how do you change many, many years? One person can't change that. So we just went with it. I did a video on that a long time ago and was laughing about it, and the guys were laughing too. But so many times, Wilma and I would go chip, 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 redo, 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 because that's just the way they do it. Some things you just got to go with the flow. At Building the Philippines with Wilma and Greg. Oh, okay. Is how you say hello in Korean. Oh, okay.
Oh, that's why you say that.
That's a little Korean. Okay.
Yeah.
Makju Jizeo. It's a little Korean for you. Blue John. A foreigner had a house built on my wife's lot right next to his wife's property in Valencia, close to Dumaguete. He never cheated. He never cheated to property line.
Oh, that was the previous.
Yeah, that's from Blue John.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Wild, Wild West here. Do you have a fallback home? Yes. Wilma's house in Leyte. Wilma built a house in Leyte in the early 2000s for her mom and dad. 3-bedroom house, 1 story, right on the National Highway, 70 meters from the ocean. Her mom lives there now. And yeah, if this house ever crumbles, we would just go back there. That's where I stayed the first 11 months. When I first moved here, when she built the house, there's a master bedroom with a master bath that is for us. So yes, that is the fallback plan. if a typhoon comes through and knocks this house down. Maria, I'm looking forward to see you guys the following week. Yes, looking forward as well. Yeah, we have another round of visits. Quite a few people are visiting. A couple just arrived, and I know there's more coming. They all want to visit the home. Blue John, I think my wife will just pay him what it costs to build a house he built and don't own now. Yeah, craziness, right? Isn't it? Isn't that crazy? Built a house on someone else's property. I mean, I have stories that I could tell that would take up a lot of time here, but then I'm not going to. But stories that like doesn't make any sense. And it's just unbelievable some of the crazy stuff that happens here where people get take advantage of. And that's why we wanted to do this live stream, is just try to talk through some things and just try to lower the risk of you getting taken advantage of. Gary says, do you use a VPN? Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
have Nord on all our phones, computers, and even our Amazon sticks all have Nord on it. So yes,
Especially when you do your banking
yeah,
online.
especially.
Charles.
Okay, Charles says, number 25 tonight.
Hey,
All right.
Charles.
How you doing, Charles? Very hot there in Texas, Charles. Very, very hot. I used,
101, he said.
he said it was
right?
101. I used to hang out Baytown. You know where Baytown is, I bet. It's pretty close to Houston. I had a facility there I used to visit. How do you guys transfer your funds from US while doing construction costs? Another great question.
Yeah.
Our banking obviously is in the US. I keep 99% of my money in the US. We have a dollar account and peso account in a national bank here in the Philippines with our name on it. And that's how we get our money. We just go to ATM. You can pull out up to $1,000 a day. So you can get plenty of money, no cost. So what we did was we would wire transfer, cost I think $5.
$5.
$5 a transfer, no big deal. We would transfer from my bank in the US through wire transfer on our phone. Obviously with the VPN on, Gary, we'd have the VPN on. And we would transfer money to the dollar account. Takes 2 minutes to do it. You got to hit a couple of different things. You know, why are you doing it? Things like that. And we just say construction costs. And then our bank would do it the next business day because we're 12 hours different. So typically it'd be the next day, unless I did it at night and then it'd be immediate. So let's just say within 12 hours, the money's transferred. Now, the banks here in the Philippines are a little more stringent. They want to make sure that I'm not a drug dealer or doing anything, you know, nefarious with the money, even though it's my money. But my suggestion is get to know the manager of the bank. We knew and we're Facebook friends with the manager of the bank in Leyte. And we just had a conversation with the manager of our bank in Dumaguete, which we're friends with her. Because she also does house insurance. And the bank that we use is getting a quote together for homeowners insurance for this house. She's putting together a quote for us. So once you get to know them, you just text them through Facebook Messenger and say, hey, I just transferred 20,000 US dollars. As soon as you do that, what's going to happen is when the money from your U.S. bank gets to Manila, the main bank, right? It doesn't go.
Pasay.
Yeah, it goes to Pasay, goes to the main bank in Manila. They're going to email the manager and say, hey, this guy, Greg, just transferred 20,000 US. Do you know about it? Well, if she already knows about it, she's going to say through an email, and we've had this exact same experience in Leyte. They email and they say, you know, this has happened. Do you approve it? If they know about it, they say, yes, no problem.
This is for construction.
It's for construction. Within 30 minutes, it's at your bank.
Yeah.
The money's there. You'll see it in your account.
Pretty easy.
We would let it sit there And then on our phone, we would switch over to our Philippine bank and we'd watch the peso to dollar rate. And back in the day, always on Tuesdays, it would pop.
Yeah.
Because again, if you're doing $20,000 and it's a peso, that's 20,000 pesos. So one peso up would be $400 extra. So you could make $400 on your money with just one peso pop. And now it's up to like 57. So it's seven, that'd be $2,800. So just in that transfer, you can make $2,800. You would make money
Yeah.
by holding off at the right time. So you just watch it and then
Before you transfer it.
before you
to
transfer
your
it. As soon as you see
peso
it go
account.
up, you transfer over. Takes about 2 minutes to transfer and you just made money. We do that all the time.
Yeah.
We always keep a little money. We just did it actually. We always keep a little US dollars in our US dollar account. And then here in the Philippines, and then when it pops, we just transfer it over. And then I always say, hey, I just made, $100
Yeah.
by waiting for that to go up. Why not? Why not make a little extra money?
Mhm.
And we make interest on our money here
Yeah.
better than,
Better than in
way
US.
better. I think it's like 3% here.
Mhm.
We make like 3% on our money here, and it's like, what, 0.3% in the US? So we're actually making money here. At Gary Johns, I suggest you getting a VPN because some US sites won't allow access from four. Absolutely
That
correct.
is true.
They
Yeah.
are not expensive at all. Good advice. Have a VPN for sure. It protects you from getting scammed. Great point. Jeff says, great question, Kai. Were your construction payments made by bank draft or cash? Another great question. I didn't bring that up. We always did manager's check.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a certified check in the US. So we would go to the bank, say we're going to pull out,
1M.
yeah, 1 million pesos, $20,000. We would put it to the contractor's name, business name, and now we would take a picture of it as well, just so we had a photo of it. The bank knows what it's for, so they're aware. And then we'd hand the contractor the check, and then he would hand over us a receipt saying on this day he received 1 million pesos. He would sign it. I'd sign it and date it. So yeah, I think that manager's check is just another extra line of protection.
Yeah,
Again,
we call them cashier's check in the US. Over here, manager's check.
manager's check.
Yeah.
So great question. Just do a manager's check. I think it just gives you another layer of protection. Again, you're
Yeah.
always trying to mitigate risk. You hand cash, contractor says, I don't have a pen with me today. I can't give you the receipt. Give it to me tomorrow.
And then you forgot about it.
And then you forget about it, or the next day, you never know. And all of a sudden, now you got all this stress. Business, business, business. Chicken Leg says, hit the like button if you haven't already, folks. Good point. Hit the like button. My understanding with live streams is when you hit the like button a lot, it kicks out to other people's recommended lines, and you may get more people to join.
Yeah.
So Gary Johnson says, that's Southern, talking to the other viewer. That can be done in the Philippines once you get there.
Click on.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Gary. Yeah, absolutely can be done once you get here. Greg and Wilma, did you do a final inspection of your property yourself and the engineer architect, including that in their fees? The final inspection was completed, but to satisfy the municipal for the OC. But now we're just waiting for the OC. So the final walkthrough was done. Now, also about the final walkthrough with the contractor, because there won't be any more walkthroughs with the municipal, right? Or am I wrong? No. Or will they?
There will be.
Oh, there will be one more.
Yeah, one more. Once they,
Get the paperwork ready.
get the paperwork.
Okay,
ready,
okay.
there will be.
So I stand corrected. So there was, once the house was built, they came and inspected and looked at the property, and then they're processing the paperwork, and I guess they're going to, before they issue it,
Mhm.
one more check. Okay,
One more.
okay. And then another point with the contractor, final walkthrough, we had a punch list, and he knocked out the punch list, and then once the punch list was done, the final amount of money was handed over. I got my VPN started over here, and I saw I was blocked from several U.S. sites. Yeah, it goes both ways. Some things like if you're doing banking, you have to have your VPN on, but then some things here with your VPN on will let you. So it goes both ways. But anyone that does any banking, if you're doing banking on your phone in the US, you should have a VPN.
I always do. Even in the US, we always have the
You should have
VPN on.
VPN. You're just exposing yourself
Mhm.
to having your information stolen. So I think everyone should have a VPN on your phone, no matter where you are. And it's not expensive. We use Nord because it has the most servers. It's very, very fast. And I think it did a 3-year deal with them. And I think it was $40 or $50. Very, very cheap. I may be wrong with that price. Gary says, thank you. On top of having permits. Absolutely. You have to have all your permits in hand before you start building. Don't do that, because if you get caught,
That's it.
why get the municipal where you're gonna live mad at you because you tried to cheat the system? Don't do it. Warranty on your build, is it a year there too? Yeah, there's, in the contract, there was a talk about, warranty. And then with the, contractor, multiple times he said to me, "Hey, if you have a problem with this, have a problem with that, just call me." And then he would tell me stories where, someone built a house, he built a house for someone, a year later, there was an issue, and he went right over and took care of it. So is it a warranty like the US? No, it's more just a handshake. But yeah, have some language in there that, if something happens early on, they'll take care of it. It's all about having it in the contract. Need to have inspections during the build. Absolutely. Our engineer was up here several times throughout the build. Many builders here offer a 6-month warranty, but some are willing to extend through negotiations. Yep. Does property tax start with the estimated bill value, or after bill complete? Do the town do an estimate property value annually? Okay, so this is relatively new for us, so we're gonna tell you what we know. Until you get your OC, you only have to pay property tax. So you pay your property tax in the Philippines in January. We didn't get our tax declaration because it just got transferred to our name until March. We just paid property tax for 2023. We're paid up. It was $1.40. And then they said, "You're late. You're supposed to pay in January." And we said, "Yes. We just bought the property, just built the house. So it's March. We just got the tax declaration from the attorney 1 hour ago." We picked it up at the attorney's office, drove right to the municipal to pay the tax. They made it sound like a big deal. "Oh, you got to pay a penalty."
Five peso.
The penalty was 10 cents. 5 pesos, a 10-cent. And they actually came to us and said, you have to pay a penalty. You're 3 months late. And I said, "Well, what is the penalty?" 10 cents. I'm like, okay, no big deal. So here's where we're not clear. The final inspection, of course, they're going to now have the house and pool and everything. They'll do an estimate of what the property is worth now.
Mm.
And in January of 24, we will have to pay property tax on everything. So is it going to go up? Absolutely. What is it going to be? I don't
We
know.
don't know yet.
We don't know. So we'll let you know. A lot of volume builders in Australia and fixed price contracts are going bust due to cost increases in materials. Yeah. A lot of crazy stories out there everywhere. How did you organize all the building materials on a job site, also keeping it secure? Good question. That was dealt by the contractor.
No.
He handled all that. And, I can say it now. I've said it on a couple of live stream. I was concerned, um, not necessarily the contractor, I don't know. But I was concerned because they had their tools here. We had a lot of cement. There was a lot of
Rebar.
electrical and
Yeah.
rebar and wire and circuit breakers and stuff like that left up here. And I would say on some videos, we have security and all that. We never had security here. We did have some guys stay. Some of the guys would say, "Hey, can I stay? Because I don't feel like driving back to Dumagetti." So once in a while, they would stay here for stretches of time. And I know one guy, Vince, used to stay here quite a bit, and he had a hammock. And I would go, "Hey, there's our security guard. Look, he's hanging out after the build." Well, he was here overnight, but not every night. We never once had one thing stolen. There was drills, again, all the contractor stuff. Not one time was anything stolen. That says a lot for the Philippines. Do that in New York, see what happens. Ray says, and Alma knows everybody locally. Absolutely true.
Yes.
Real good resource. Did you see, oh, let me click on it. Did you see the owner's title before you purchase? Yes.
We did.
I always ask when we saw the property. That was one of the things that we did was when we're scheduled to see the property with a realtor, I always say, I want to see a copy of the title. And 50% of the time, they wouldn't show it. And we say, well, if you don't show us the title today, we're not buying this property. Oh, sir, it's not a problem. No issue whatsoever. No. If I don't see a copy of the title right now, we're not buying that piece of property. And we walked, right, from a lot. Because if they're trying to hide it from you, there's an issue, right? So again, it's all the business stuff. Oh, no, we have it. We'll get it for you next week. Okay, sure, send it to me. Do you guys own other property as well? She owns land in the house in Leyte. AF. Alan and Jessica from Phoenix. I'm 61 and she's 56. How do you do your property search? Was it all in one trip? Do you have realtors with you always? Always had a realtor with us just because we didn't know the terrain. Every island we went to, we contacted 3 realtors through Facebook Messenger. So I was in Leyte. I said, hey, Wilma, we're going to Bohol next month. So I would start researching Facebook Messenger, start looking at, say you find 20 pieces of property, start contacting realtors, introduce myself, say I'm a foreigner. Always say you're a foreigner because they know that more than likely you're going to have the money. Hey, I'm coming to this hotel on this date. Meet me in the lobby at 9 o'clock on Monday. And then the next realtor, meet me at 9 o'clock on Tuesday. Next realtor, meet me 9 o'clock on Wednesday. I'd always do 3 realtors, and we would usually travel during the weekend, start Monday morning. So I got realtor 1 on Monday, realtor 2 on Tuesday, realtor 3 on Wednesday. And then they would show us property. If we liked them, we would do another round. So I would say, okay, Thursday, who wants to show me property on Thursday? Realtor 2? Okay, you got Thursday. You got Friday, you got Saturday. And we would stay in that hotel as long as it took to basically exhaust that area until they start not finding property. And once we got more and more comfortable with it, we were a little more and more direct. So we would say, this is what we're looking for. So we would say, I'll just make it simple. If I was going to buy a house, don't show me any red houses. And then they take you to a red house. So I would say to them, don't waste my time. I'm not even getting off my scooter because that's a red house. So you got to be direct, be nice, be direct. This is what I want. I want an ocean view. They show you property, you can't see the ocean. So, it's wasting their time and it's wasting your time. So be direct up front. And what we'd always do when we met in the lobby, we'd always talk for 10 minutes and to get to know each other a little bit and say that, I want nothing less than 500 square meters. I want an ocean view. I want this, I want that. if you take me to a piece of property that doesn't have these requirements, I'm not buying it, so you're wasting your time. And then hopefully if they had 5 pieces of property to show you, they went to their vehicle and crossed off 1 or 2 of them that didn't meet those requirements. So, really good question. Can you provide a list of the various plans your architect provided? He didn't provide any plans. Wilma and I designed the house, soup to nuts. We sat down, did many, many versions, dimensions, where all the outlets was going to go, where the plumbing was going to go. Just sketched it all out, and I handed it to the architect and said, I want to see a 2D rendering of that. And then once he gave it to me, it actually didn't look right. I said, no, no, it doesn't look right. Do it again. He came back a second time. It looked real good. And then he started doing, all the plans. We made some changes. I think like 3 revisions over Zoom because we were back in Leyte at that point. And then once I was satisfied with the way it looked, with all the dimensions, I said, go for it. And he went to blueprint. So he didn't show me any plans. It was based off of what we wanted. We were very specific how we wanted the house to look. And I think it shows because this house really looks totally different from any house that we've seen. It looks totally different. And that's what we were going for. Does the architect do the drainage plan for the property before excavation? No, that was done by the contractor. And really, I kind of took that over.
It was you.
For the
really,
most part. It was really me saying we're going to do this, this, and this, and this. So that's another good point. If you have the time, if you're going to be on site, we hired a local guy, and you've seen him many times on the build videos, that worked for me. And I did that for a reason. I wanted someone to keep up with landscaping because when we built our house in New York, we moved into the house with no landscaping.
No landscape.
And we didn't like it because you have 2 messes. They built the house, there's a mess, and then now you got to do landscaping, you have 2 messes. So I said, if I ever built a house again, I would never do that. I would try to do as much of the landscaping while the build's going on. So that was just my thought. So I hired a guy locally, and he did a lot of the landscaping, maybe 70%. A lot of the drainage. He did my leach field. He did some of the extra drainage things that I wanted, knowing that all the weep holes. He did all that during the build. So when the build was over, we were kind of done.
You were like, well, just a step behind him.
Yeah, he was just a step or 2 behind. So that's very, very important to do that because when we were done, we wanted to be done. We had people ask, why didn't you do the pool afterwards? Well, you build the house, you have construction mess. You move into the house. Now you're going to dig the hole and build a pool. We wanted the mess one time.
Yeah, we have the fence, the pool, the house.
All at the same time.
All at the same time. So it's the same mess.
Yeah, and it's funny because we're watching other builds, especially around here, because Wilma and I ride around and see different builds. You typically see the house being built, then the pool, then the fence. And then on a couple of them, you see the fence first. So I guess they're thinking about security. Then the house. We wanted to do everything at the same time because we only wanted one mess. That was our thought. Works both ways. AF, get a lawyer, eyes wide open, keep all your paperwork and keep control of it. Great advice. Control everything you can control. Mitigates risks. Are there many military retirees in your area that you're aware of? Yeah, there is actually. Yeah, there's quite a few. We just made friends with a couple that came up here and they're building a house and he's retired Navy, I think. Yeah, there's a lot of retired military folks. Did you start building prior to getting the final title? Yes. Now, there's where there's a risk. But we took the risk because we felt very comfortable that the paperwork was in order. The person who owned the title was the person we dealt with. When we paid for the land and got the deed of sale, the person was right there. And there was other lots sold in a subdivision that went to title and was transferred. So that was the deciding factor, that there was property all around us here that already went the title transferred. So if the lot next to us transferred, obviously there's not going to be a problem with this lot because it's under the same subdivision plan, under the same owner, under the same original title. So there is a little bit of risk there. Some people do wait, and that would be smart too. But we also wanted to get the build complete. So we felt comfortable with it for the various reasons I just explained, and we went for it. And then we were told by our attorney, "You'll have the title in 7 months." 7 months, and it was 7 months, 2 weeks.
Yeah,
So everything he said came true.
because all you need is just the, to get the
Deed of sale.
permits, just the deed of sale.
Right.
Yeah.
A good engineer will do all the plumbing, electrical plans as part of your build. He did.
Yes.
Your drainage should be part of your septic design if done properly. Yeah, the septic design was there. I added leach field. That was all in the plan. You're correct. The plumbing, electrical plan was all done.
Yeah.
Actually, you have to show the electrical plan by your architect, which he did for us. But if you're going to do it yourself, you have to show the electrical plan to the electric company before they will do the hookups. So yeah, he did all that for us. How many people? 73, and we're almost 2 hours, so we're gonna hopefully finish up here relatively soon. Kenny says, "What's the average cost of property taxes? Also, does it matter the size of the property or property taxes?" Yes, obviously the bigger the property, and it goes by value. And then once you put a house on it, obviously your taxes are going to go up, which we haven't got to yet. That'll be January of next year. So yeah, but this 1,100 square meters, the property tax for the year is $1.40 US, $1.40.
70 pesos.
70 pesos. It makes me laugh just thinking about it. Gardner in the Philippines. Just wanted to say hello, guys. Great to see you guys live. Hello.
Hello.
At Jeff Ants. Wow, thanks. Good advice. Yeah. I'm very glad you guys are communicating, and thank you for that, because, obviously we don't have all the answers at all. Like I said in the beginning, what works for us may not work for you. You may go in a total different direction and have a fantastic result. This is about mitigating risk. The more heads in the conversation, the more conversation, sharing experiences is exactly what we want, because I do not want any subscriber or viewers to go through the stress
Anybody.
of getting taken advantage of. We had a lady in this room crying her eyes out
Yeah.
and holding her chest.
She has a heart attack over it.
She did have a heart attack? She
Yeah,
was
heart
holding
attack.
her chest because the contractor in another island,
Not in this
not this island, took them, and I'm going to give a different figure. I'll use a little less of a figure. Took them for 10 million pesos, $100,000. So let's just tell it what it is. The contractor stole the $100,000. They went through all the steps of trying to get the money back. And they're going to court and doing all that. It's going to take years. She was in this room crying her eyes out. She was a lady in her 50s or 60s, holding her chest. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God. So this is about just trying to brainstorm, collaborate, tell the truth. But again, what happened for us, you could do the exact same thing, have a horrible experience, or I could tell you, don't do that, and you do it, and you have a great experience. We all know that things are unique and individual. We all understand that. But again, it's about mitigating risk. White Sheet says, do you know, guys, think about foreclosed properties. It's safe to buy those. They seem much cheaper.
I think you didn't, Josh and Kill. You didn't click on it.
Oh, okay. Oh no, we're late. Hi, guys. Hello. No
Okay.
problem. Thanks for joining. So no, we did not want to buy a house. We wanted a unique looking house. And the only way to get that is to design it ourselves because house plans here are pretty vanilla, right? When you drive around and look at a lot of foreigner homes, they're very vanilla. So we wanted something very, very unique. From the front of the house, from one end of the house to the other, is all glass. You really don't see that a lot here. Some, the very large beams in the front, that modern design. You don't see a lot of it here in the Philippines. So we did not want to buy an existing house. And we also thought that we could have it built better than someone else building it and you don't know what's up in the eaves because you can't see it. You don't know what shortcuts was taken. So I wasn't a fan of buying an existing house. Now, some people buy an existing house, have it renovated, it's fantastic, but you're kind of stuck with the structure. And we didn't want that. We didn't want a traditional roof. We didn't want a typhoon to come through and knock it down. Maybe it would never knock down, but we wanted a pitched roof. So we had a lot of ideas, and this is our last house. So we wanted it our way. We were picky. You're doing good on some spot questions, very knowledgeable. Excellent. I would hire you tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know about that. But again, this is all about helping you not getting taken advantage of. Don't want it to happen. I've said it a million times on the channel. No one's going to look out for your retirement dollars better than you. And I hate to hear where people like us work in your home country all your life, bust your butt, save money, retire, either retire early or retire normal time, have this great dream of building a house in the Philippines because more than likely your wife is Filipina, and you come here and you get taken advantage of. I do not want that happen. Wow, 15,000 for the plans. That was just for the house. I am emailing y'all today for his contact info, getting upwards of 200K for our plans. Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. We'll give you our contractor's, I'm sorry, architect's name. Yeah. Hello from Switzerland. In your opinion, what are the most important criteria in choosing the land before to build a house? Is it better to buy a lot in a subdivision or farmland? Good question. I'm just going to read it. I was waiting for a question to come, so thank you. Here's my original list of what I wanted. Number one, don't buy land in a rice field. That was always our number one. We wanted to be on a cemented road. That is our one thing that we didn't get 100%. Right out front, beautiful cement road, but our little cul-de-sac is not. So when we leave our property and drive that loop around, it's gravel and dirt. No big deal. The house needs to be higher than the road. We want an ocean view. We wanted elevation, meaning high up to get the cool air. We wanted municipal water, a good water source, not just municipal water, but a good water source, because you hear often, especially in Leyte, where you get water on Monday, but not on Tuesday. Or you'll get water from 8 a.m. to noon, and then they shut the water off. So we wanted municipal water, and we also wanted a steady flow of water, meaning 24/7. Primary power, which means we wanted good power lines to the property as well as primary power. So we're not sharing a transformer with other people. So we have steady 220 coming in the house. We wanted to build the house on the highest point of the land. And we wanted to invest in proper drainage that we could drain all the water away. Then some of the external things, and this is going to sound a little odd. We wanted to be 30 minutes from an ACE hospital. So there's only 13, 14 ACE hospitals, so that really limited us down. We were told when it comes to living out in the islands like we do, that ACE hospital is one of the better modern hospitals. So we wanted to be within 30 minutes. We're 35 minutes. We wanted a boardwalk close to where we live, so we could not just walk on the sand, but we could go to a boardwalk that has restaurants and things like that, and that's in Dumagetti. We wanted Western style restaurants where we can sit down and have spaghetti and meatballs, lasagna, steak, buttered bread, right? We wanted to have nice, more upscale restaurants because Wilma and I like to go out to dinner. We wanted malls so we could go and have, decent stores, decent shopping. If I wanted to go get a pair of real Nikes, I could go buy a pair of real Nikes. So we wanted a mall close by. Um, we wanted good highways. We didn't want to be on very narrow roads. We wanted to have decent highways. And then I added one to this list that wasn't on the original list. Uh, a source of expats around so you can go and have friendships with expats and have conversation.
Yeah.
Because being tucked away, like I said very early on, and not talk to people or have a conversation with a local with very broken English uh, was not satisfying to me when I was in Leyte. I struggled with that very much. In fact, Wilma and I are pretty, when we lived in New York, we had our friends and that was it. We weren't that friendly with people that we didn't know. We said we didn't want any more friends. We had enough friends. Somebody's 6 houses down from us, we never met, never talked to them. You may see them and you just do this. Here, or in Leyte, I was seeking out foreigners. I see a foreigner in the mall, something I would never do in the US. I would beeline to him, just have a conversation. Think about that. That may happen to you. Just remember the Philippines, there are multiple charges. In a lot of countries, it's one-stop shop. In the Philippines, make up a checklist of what Wilma and Greg checklist, or watch Wilma and Greg. Keep control of your paperwork and check with the brand guy. Yeah, do multiple checks. Very, very important. Talk to your brand guy, talk to lawyers, talk to as many people as you can to verify that you can build on that piece of property. We know people who bought property for retail and was told you can never build on it. Can you imagine? Okay, Siri Case. What's the one main thing you would do differently if you were to build again? We got asked that question quite a bit. Nothing really. I can't think of anything major. We did not do our drainage 100% down by the end of the road or end of our property, and we're going to work on that and get that done right. So there was one thing. I think I mentioned a couple of live streams. I probably would put a gutter on the overhang for the carport because I hate gutters, but we get a lot of water spillage there where my truck is parked. So probably put a gutter there. And I'm not satisfied with the driveway on the other side of the gate. The driveway itself is fantastic, but it's just not done right when it gets past the gate, and we're getting ready to fix that as well. Other than those three things, everything went smooth.
Yeah.
Right? We had the house built in less than 7 months. That includes pool and fence.
Yeah.
It was really very, very smooth. So we did mitigate a lot of risk. Greetings, Scott here. Did you include solar? Not, why not? We did not do solar yet. We will be doing solar at some point. The payback's just not there. And I know so many people are very passionate about solar. If you guys notice on our channel, we don't talk about solar anymore because when it comes to getting negative comments, it's when I talk about solar. Oh, the payback's 3 years. No, it's not. It's not. We only use $80 of electricity per month. So if you do a system for this house, it's going to be, I don't know, $12,000. Take $12,000 divided by 80. That's how many years it's going to take to pay off. I think it's 14, 15 years to pay it off. Now that's us. And that's probably because we don't use a lot of aircon, stuff like that. So why do I want to spend 12, 13, $14,000 now where I'm just paying $80 a month? Now I realize the brownouts, there's a factor there. Will we get solar at some point? Yes. I think we're kind of dragging our feet, waiting for the technology to improve. Um, we've had, I think, 5 companies here now.
Yeah, we were very close with the last one, but
Very close.
he raised the price,
raised the price
when
on
we
us.
get ready to sign the contract.
Right, he raised the price by $1,000.
Yeah.
So is solar good? Yes. Is it great for brownouts? Yes. Does it save you money? Yeah, sure it does. But the payoff is just not there. I guess I'm stubborn. I'm too much of a business person. You know, where I worked was if your return on investment wasn't 5 years, the companies I worked for wouldn't let you do that capital project. So when I do the math and it's 12 years, I automatically train to say it's not happening and you just move on. You just move on to the next project. Well, I don't work anymore. So I can say I'm okay with a 12-year payoff, but really I'm not. So I want to get the payment down or the return on investment down. And a lot of you will probably disagree with me, but we're dragging our feet a little bit, and that's the reason why. Setting up accounts at wholesalers for your build. What are their terms? 30 days. Setting up accounts at wholesalers. I'm not sure what that means, Kai. So you may have to send another message. On a heavy rain day, if work stops, does your bill contractor charge you for his crew? No. If
It's his loss.
it's his loss. Yeah. If it's rainy and they lose a day or two, if the guys were on site, they got paid. If they didn't show up for work, the contractor would not pay them. And same thing with running out of supplies. If they ran out of supplies and a guy sat, now if you run out of supplies, that's the contractor's issue, right? He paid him full salary. So it ate into his profit. So good question. Most, just had a comment come through and block my, most of the front of your house is glass. Is the glass tempered? Yes. Or you're concerned of typhoons breaking the glass? Sure, of course. 1/4-inch glass. There's 2 companies in Dumageddon that we've identified, and we haven't gone there yet, but it's on our list of the roll type aluminum that you roll down businesses and then you can lock. They look ugly, so we would want them to be white, or at least when they're folded up to look white to blend in with the house. But we are looking to get some rolled down, ugly looking aluminum fencing, I guess, to block wind.
Just for when there's a
Just when there's
typhoon.
typhoons. So
Hopefully we never had to use it.
yeah, absolutely. I don't care how ugly it is when you pull it down, because it's only going to be down during a typhoon. But that's a great question. Are we concerned? Of course. And we're looking to have something to block. Were you renting nearby? Yeah. Unfortunately, it was 25 kilometers away, but we signed a 6-month contract with an apartment. Me on my journey. That word you don't understand means hello in Korean. I'm guessing they are Korean. Yes. I only know a couple words in Korean. Amazingly outstanding. There's a Filipino YouTuber named Slater Young and Cebu. Yeah, I've seen him a couple of times. Yep. You tell us the cost of your weekly garbage disposal now including in municipal taxes. It's not included in the taxes. It's an additional cost. And I forgot to answer that because you had a 2-part question. Sorry, Kai. The way it works here is we're way up the mountain, so there's no garbage pickup up here. 100% of the people here burn their garbage. Don't like it. We're not burning our garbage. So we went down to municipal and inquired. For 6 months, it's 180 pesos, so about $3 for 6 months. You pay the fee and you get a certificate. And now you paid for garbage pickup. They do come up through every Saturday and pick up trash. So it's about a kilometer from here. So we have to drive down the mountain about a kilometer and drop the garbage off with everyone else. There's a pickup point. We don't like it, but it's better than burning the garbage. It's not a big deal. We just save up our garbage. We have those big black trash bags. We put it in the back of the truck, drive down, drop it off. There's usually 20, 30 bags sitting there. They pick up between 8:30 and 9 a.m. and we drop it off like 8:15, and we're good to go. Good question. 180 pesos every 6 months. Make sure to tell Wilma not to ever watch the movie Platoon.
Yeah, anything that has snake.
Yeah. To Wilma, we can be each other's protectors. This is Madam J. Can pick up the snakes around you and you can take care of the flying cockroaches for me. Your future neighbor at the end lot. Yeah. The good news is you don't see cockroaches here. I think if you're down on a national highway where there's a bunch of houses, you'll see it. In fact, we were driving around downtown Dowen, like between the national highway and the ocean. And we saw like a family of rats going across the road. I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine? So I think that's another value of being up here. We see honeybees, we see spiders, we see tucats, not many lizards, flies. I think that's because of the cows. Not many mosquitoes. You can sit out at night and not get bit up. But flies, those tucats, like a big gecko, and a few lizards, the little tiny ones, not many. We don't have them in the house because we keep everything tight. So yeah, we're pretty lucky. Can you imagine having cockroaches and rats? Ugh. I mean, if your neighbor next door has them, you're going to have them no matter how clean you are. Time for me to go. Thank you for the great live stream. Take care. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Gary.
Appreciate it. I think we'll wrap this up. Mamet says, hello from Charleston. We have good friends in Charleston. Kai says, I'll come and teach them. What happened here? Oh, there we go. Come and teach them electrical and block work. Yeah. Argil, I love the idea you had about putting the 110-volt plugs. Can I get one step further the initial electrical plan to have the entire house done? You can. It's just an additional cost. You can have your electrician do 110. Everything in this house is 220 except for just a couple of kitchen items and then my tools that need to be recharged. So that's why we only did 2 110. That's plenty for us. We like the fact that it just blends in with the house. It's just a plug you plug in and it works. So yeah. And also have solar plan with generator. Yeah, we have a generator. So if we lose power, we turn the generator on. And yeah, it's good to have solar. We will, guys, at some point, just not now, a generator. I think we're just down to the last couple. We've gone way over. Greg and Wilma, did you bring your phone from the US to fill to maintain your banking apps and banking? Yes. We had 2 phones. We did everything we could to take all our US stuff off and load up all new stuff. Like we loaded like Netflix and Spotify, everything we knew we were going to use here. Had all new accounts. We went to the bank, got rid of all our accounts, all our credit cards, everything, bank cards, got rid of everything, got all fresh accounts in the US, all fresh credit cards. So they all start at the same time and end at the same time. And then driver's license, we went and got our driver's license redone. So that was all fresh. So it's good for 7 years or whatever it is. Same thing with our passports. See, we timed everything. Our passports, we sent them in, got new passports, so they're good for 10 years. So we kind of lined the year we retired to make sure that all happened. And then we loaded everything on our phones. My phone just died, so we were a little nervous that now all our banking is on one phone. So we just reloaded everything on my new phone, and I had to use my sister, and I had to call my sister on one phone, and then she called our bank on another phone. She put the phones together because our bank will not send any messages to a Philippine number. So I asked them, can I put my sister's number? They said no problem. So now, if anything goes wrong with my banking, they'll alert my sister. But I spoke to the lady from the bank, just putting the two phones together. We just did this 2 nights ago, and worked like a charm. So now we have all our banking on two phones. That's actually a really good question. You want to make sure that your phone has your fingerprint that opens up, your face, your code, multiple ways. We have somebody who just got injured and doesn't remember his code, can't do his online banking. Now, if he had face recognition, he could just put his face up, get into his phone. His phone no longer works, can't get into it. So very, very important to have fingerprint. So when I set up my phone, I put my fingerprint, I put my face. It said, "Do you want to add another?" Yes. I ran right out to Wilma. I said, "Do your selfie." So now her face is on there, her fingerprint. My new phone, you can have two SIM cards. I thought that was interesting. So you can actually, I have a Dito and a Globe in my phone. So now my new phone has like Verizon and AT&T at the same time, two different phone numbers. So when I go to make a phone call, it'll say which one has the best service. Is it AT&T or Verizon? Verizon's better right now where you are. It calls Verizon. If I go down the road and want to send a text or a phone and it says now AT&T's better, it automatically switches to Globe and calls out with Globe. So pretty good. So definitely need to have good technology. Your banking set up on multiple phones and not just passwords. Great question. I think we're down just a couple.
Yeah, because
We got to end this.
yeah, soon.
Mick says, Mayun Buntag Wilman Greg from Australia, retired in 7 years. Already have a house. We'll plan to buy a lot and build a retirement home. Good luck to you. Very nice. Nice to hear. Congrats on the future retirement.
And it's Ellen.
Ellen, our good friends.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hello,
that-
Di.
Hi, guys. Hi, Sandy. How are you?
She thought she missed our live.
We use McAfee VPN. Very important to have a VPN. And there's so many: Surfshark, Nord, McAfee. There's a lot of good ones out there. In New York, even with security, it will be stolen. Oh, let me click on that. It's my oldest son. Yeah, I mean, it's just so many scammers out there. You got to be so careful. Street smart, everything. So VPN helps mitigate the risk, but even then, things can be stolen. Your identity can be stolen. Mr. Macau in Metro Manila and probably many other locations. One sees the title number and owner name. You can request a certified true copy of the title online from yes, correct. All important things to do. What does OC stand for? Occupancy certificate. I think they call it CO in the US. Certificate of occupancy.
It's opposite.
Here they call it occupancy certificate. I believe that's how what it stands for. Oh, I didn't click on it. Sorry, Robert. Advise 4-pin survey first, then drainage for the property. Yeah, 100%. All good advice. Jazz and Kelly, hey, chat, do a cha-cha dance to the like button. You mentioned title takes longer in Leyte. Are titles done at the capital or to municipal level? Your wife's property is in southern Leyte. It's in middle Leyte. I don't think it takes longer by island. I think it takes longer by complexity of the paperwork. If there's some issues, things get delayed. It's your title is done in the capital of your island. So
Yeah,
in
which is
Leyte, it's
Tacloban.
Tacloban. Here it's Dumaguete. So Dumaguete's right down the road. So it's in the capital of your island. So I think Bohol is Tagbilaran City, Cebu, Cebu. Leyte is Tacloban. That's where your title gets generated.
It was my aunt helping me.
Yeah, and 12 months isn't bad.
No.
A lot of taxes are based on zonal value per square meter, especially CGT, doc stamp, et cetera, when buying, selling. Good point. Yep. We'll find out soon enough in January what the new tax is. Jazz, just curious about Filipino wife get the foreigner benefits when he passes. Foreigner benefits when he passes.
I think you had to be, you
That's,
had to live in the US.
yeah, I just watched a video and the person was just not saying it correctly. I get Social Security at 62, or I could wait to 63, 64, 65. I'll get it at 62. And then Wilma worked 28 years in the US. She's American citizen, so she'll get Social Security. So long as we're both living, we'll get 2 Social Securities. If I pass, she can get my Social Security because
It's bigger.
she was, yeah, mine will be bigger. That's fine.
I think you had to be married.
Married 10
for
years.
10 years.
I'm pretty sure
Yes,
you have to be married 10 years and live in the
live in the
US.
US and you have Social Security
Yeah.
assigned to you.
So, and again, guys, I may be wrong here, but I don't think I am. If you marry a Filipina in the Philippines and she never goes to the US and lives there, I don't think she gets your Social Security when you die.
Your kids, your
Children.
your children
Yeah.
can.
But the wife won't. You have to meet a requirement of living in the United States as a Filipina, and I think it's 10 years.
Yeah.
And be married for 10 years, but I may be wrong with that. Greg, will the power utility allow you to ground the transformer to the ground with ground rods? Yes. Yes, out at the
We have
pole,
one down.
there's a ground, and then our electrical panel here is grounded. Anything over 30 amp, which means your bigger items like your heaters and pool and generator, has 3 wires grounded back to the panel. That's grounded out to the ground. And then the refrigerator and stove, which is 20 amp, so they don't do a 3-wire here. They're specifically grounded outside into their own grounding rods, the refrigerator and stove. So that's how we did it. And then the follow-up was, you can use 120-volt circuits in the build. Yes, you can have your contractor give you your 120s if you need them. You're 100% correct about the solar views. Do you have to feed your workers every day? No, we didn't feed them every day. We supplied coffee, snacks often. Once or twice a week, we bring up bread. They seem to love the bread. And then milestones, Wilma would cook food, and then they'd beg me for beer.
And you sit down with them.
Which I'm not big on giving them alcohol, but when we did, when we did the big cross beam, I said, I'll get you 2 cases of beer. And I sat and had a couple beers with them. So a couple times throughout the build, we did that. What I meant was, does the local wholesalers grant 30 days payment terms for account to build? The local, I think you meant contractors grant 30. Yeah, if you mean contractors, yes. I had an agreement that I was going to pay my contractor the number of months the build was going to be, divided by, say, The total cost of the bill divided by total months. So let's just say it was 7-month bill and a 7 million peso house. That's 1 million pesos a month. Use round numbers. So day one, 1 million pesos. 30 days later, 1 million pesos. 30 days later, 1 million pesos. So then at the very end, you're holding 1 million pesos. And then you can say, well, this got, this has to be done, this has to be done, and this has to be done. And then once the punch list is done, you hand over your final 1 million pesos. That's as an example, if the bill's 7 million and it's a 7-month bill. So we did 30 days. I didn't make him wait, and just handed him his money, and he was good to go, and he was fine with it. If he's not fine with it, then you should question that. Why do you need all the money up front? Again, it's risk. Our contractor said, yeah, no problem. Can we dive in your pool if we ever get invited? Absolutely. Great to see you guys, your loyal followers, Todd and Alnor from Vegas. We always appreciate you too. God bless. Thank you. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate it very much. We love Vegas. TIG. Okay, tip. Magnet stick to use on your road periodically walks tire. I know, we got to do that.
Yeah.
We had a couple people suggest that. I think we're up to 4 nails in the truck tire, but you only go 30 mile an hour, so it's no risk about plugging the tire. I'll put 50 plugs in that tire. You never go fast. Love that bling phone case. Yeah, Wilma picked that out. Kind of fancy, right?
That was the only thing I had that.
She liked that phone case.
Either that or clear.
Yeah, that or clear. So it's nice, and it's nice. Kind of looks like Louis a little bit, right? Louis Vuitton. Thanks. All good info. Worth having more of these. Yeah, actually, good point, Scott. I got a couple comments. If excuse me, the next one could be in the late afternoon because there's people from Europe, and we're growing in Europe, especially like Germany, Scotland, Ireland. UK's going down for some reason. Don't know why. Belgium, a lot of Norway, Sweden. Very surprised. Some Russia. Said, could you please do one around, I think they said 5 p.m. so they could join in on the live stream because they have a lot of questions. So I'll probably do a follow-up one, which you guys wouldn't be on because you'd probably be sleeping. Great job, guys. Very proud. Very good. I think we're ending this out. Wilma's the boss lady, without question. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
We got 2 more here. Hello, Greg and Wilma from Saddle. Work 12-hour shift. You guys are inspiring. Thank you. Enjoy, guys. Got to go. Good night. Good night, Johnny.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it very much. Hope this helped a little bit. If you got specific questions, shoot off an email. I do my best to answer. I'm always a little slow on emails because I'm trying to keep up on the channel itself. You're seeing that we're doing more and more videos. Now that I got my phone, I'm excited about the better picture quality. Hi, Mom. Miss you very much.
Hi, Mom.
And we appreciate you guys joining for sure. And take care.